question that we discussed is, if this is everyone's true nature, what we're talking about, this awakened state, then why does it seem like so few people have experienced it? That's a good question.
It's a great question.
Adi Ashanti said something like, when he, I think it was after he had when he awakened, he said he looked at Buddhism, because he was in Zen Buddhism, and he said, "Wow, if this was a business, and the product is enlightenment, we would go bankrupt. We're not doing very well." And these are people who are focused on that, not just the average person who may or may not be interested in anything spiritual. So it's a very good point, and it's a funny thing, because it's when it's seen, it's like, oh, of course you see it in everybody.
Right. Well, I get a lot of things that come up when that question arises.
Let it rip.
A lot of things. One of the things is that in the esoteric circles, and I've been an esoteric junkie for years.
Yeah.
One of the things that comes up is that man, as a whole, wanted to experiment in the idea of materialism and being in this sense of losing itself in what you call the material world. Now, to be able to lose yourself in the material world, you literally have to have the sense of I and the split between them, that this is this branch is outside me, or this bank is outside me, and it's me in here, and so forth and so on. And so to truly lose yourself into that space, you literally would want to completely forget the idea that there's really no separation at all between these things.
Yeah.
And that this was some sort of grand experiment in consciousness that you would say man, or maybe even the cosmos or the universal oneness, wanted to play with itself. So I find that to be a fascinating idea. Maybe that's why that is part of the reason. But on a more,
it's kind of like a cosmic Leela.
Yeah, it's kind of like a cosmic Leela.
I've fallen asleep.
Yeah, it's like,
I'm awake.
Let's fall asleep and let's just
see if we can wake up.
How far we can go.
How
far can we really get lost in this thing?
Right.
Because ultimately, as we said, I think in one of the other episodes there, when you see it, you see that, we've always been this way. And
everyone has.
And everybody is. And there's nothing really different.
No.
Nobody can get out of that. Nobody can get out of that oneness.
There's no alternative.
Right? But when you're in it, you also have extreme difficulty in seeing anything about it, or that it's it.
Yeah. When you're in ego.
You're in ego. When you're really caught up in the idea of,
me,
I'm here and that's out there and I'm here, and it even works in some ways when you think about it with your thoughts, because you're saying that I'm thinking. Well, who's the I that's thinking, right? I mean, so you're not just it's not your thoughts. It's somebody thinking, right? So we've gotten that separation really fine.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is also that when you're habituated into this kind of way of being, and I think it's really what it is, this habituation.
I do too.
I also call it hypnosis. You're hypnotized into this thinking.
Yep.
You actually don't even envision anything other than...
You don't never question it.
No.
When you're hypnotized, you don't question.
No.
Am I hypnotized?
Right. And then when you finally do question, when you get to that point, you are trying to find your self, your grand self, your heaven, whatever it is.
Right.
So you don't, even if people tell you that it's not there, it's everything is one, and so forth and so on, you're still looking for this kind of idea within yourself.
Yeah.
So you're still keeping that separate self. So it's not easy. It's as I said, it was too simple. It's too simple to see. So I think those are some of the reasons why.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
And I think there's lots of others, but maybe you have
Me too.
some idea.
I think hypnosis. I think we're raised from childhood. You know, our parents lean over the crib and say our name, and from that day on, they look at us and they say our name, and we become the name slowly. And I think, you know, everyone always says that children they have something otherworldly about them. The infants and even young children, that's why we can't take our eyes off little kids. They still retain something of otherworldly, and I think what it is they're not completely hypnotized yet to believe they're an individuated self. I've heard lots of YouTube videos and read books of people who've had awakenings, and many of them, not all, but many of them, when they have the awakening, they go, "Oh, I remember this when I was a kid. I remember having access to this when I was a child."
Yeah. Your basic nature.
It's your basic nature.
Because you bring it in.
It's your basic nature.
You bring it in, yeah.
Before you add anything else, that's there.
Yeah. You know, there's also something to be said about it's kind of captivating to be in that play. It's captivating to win whatever it is you're playing.
Or try to win.
Playing.
Yeah.
And even
Striving
sometimes it's
win.
captivating to lose. It's like, okay, you get these extremes of
the disappointments,
of passions and disappointments.
Yeah.
And there's a quality I feel that you get attached to that. It's like
very entertaining.
You're attached.
Very entertaining also. Right?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Feel alive.
Yeah. And you get attached to your sense of I. You get literally attached to it. It's like, the idea of losing that attachment is can be devastating.
Why would I want that?
Yeah, it's like devastating, my lord.
Of course, not to make a goal out of it. It's just something that you don't lose the I. You discover that there never was an I.
Right.
Yeah, but it feels in the moment like, oh, I lost it.
Yeah. And you can always use it because the mystics have always said it's a tool to be used, and it literally is a tool to be used. You can always go back into it and use it.
Like we're doing right now.
Right.
You're using mind. Right. We're communicating using English language. Mind.
Absolutely.
Mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But you're not.
But you're not lost in it. That's
not
the whole
lost
thing.
in
You're
it.
not lost in it. It's not like, oh, that's who you really are. No.
Right. No. You never. Don't forget.
But when I'm talking to you or somebody else, I can actually use it and say, "Oh, I had an ice cream cone today." I mean, if I didn't say that, you'd think I was crazy.
You're crazy.
I had to say ice cream cone.
Ice cream cone. Ice cream cone was had today. Like what?
Not even had. It's not even whatever. However you would say it.
Just ice cream.
Right. So you got it. Right. So those that think that's what happens is, and also the other thing is that I believe that before I had this awakening experience, I felt like or believed that if you had the awakening experience, that was it. You were just awake, and you were always awake, and you in a way there was no ego there at all. It is
one and done.
Finished. Like, it's like you're done.
You're there. You're not.
And then you realize, oh no, you need that. You need that ego. If you're living in this world as a human being, and I believe that if you're living in the universe as a being of some sort, you need some sense of this kind of tool called the ego. Otherwise, there could be really no interrelating in some fashion. There could be no give and take and response in that way, so that you have some sort of activity and action that you can do that. You can, and it is a tool. That's what it is. That's why they call it a tool. It's a tool to be used. At the same time, you can't possibly imagine that one thing, oneness, can actually be the creator of all of it, in a sense. The creator of the ego, because it is the ego. Yeah. It's the creator of the opposites in some sense.
Yep.
Within it.
Yep.
The creating of two is opposed to the creating of three, and whatever else it creates. When you see that, it's almost like miraculous. It's miraculous.
Totally miraculous.
It's totally miraculous. It's like, what?
Mind-boggling.
How?
Doesn't.
How? You don't know how.
The mind can't.
No.
Can't understand.
No, that's not. There's no how to it. It just is. This is the way it is.
Yep. I wanted to just sort of interrupt it. It's kind of going on a tangent, but I just keep popping in my head, and I just want to say something about it. Is that there's one thing that, even though our true nature can get buried under mind, and we're talking about, why aren't more people experiencing this? And like, there's one thing that is a constant reminder that we are not home, and that is dissatisfaction with life. And I mean a deep sense of dissatisfaction. I don't mean necessarily, I'm dissatisfied because something on the surface of your life isn't working. Some sort of deeper dissatisfaction. And I know for a fact, I've talked, we all have talked to so many people, lots and lots and lots and lots of people. Somewhere, if they're honest and they have a quiet moment, they look, there's something, they're dissatisfied. There's something they feel something's not right. And that's why this constant striving for either to cover it up with, food or excitement or something, or try to get better, some activity of the mind to try to cover that thing. And what that dissatisfaction is a flag from home saying, you're not home. You've lost your way. And it hurts. It hurts to be away from home, from our true nature. And I just wanted to say that it's worth exploring that. My feeling.
Yeah, I wonder if you know that, but when you're in that space of dissatisfaction, that you don't really know. That kind of almost afterwards, after the fact. That,
Yes.
This is what I was missing.
Yes. Yeah.
But while you're,
I was trying to say it to somebody now. It's like that feeling you're feeling, that dissatisfaction deep at the core, that nothing seems to fill it or touch it. That thing. Yeah. That's home calling.
That's it.
Hello, home calling. Yeah. But you're right.
It's necessary. But when you're not,
when you're lost, dissatisfaction, you just feel like, I don't like my life. Yeah, and I don't know why. Maybe it's I need another girlfriend or another boyfriend or new job or new pair of running shoes. Maybe that'll do it. And you try those things, and they don't touch it. No. They don't touch it. No. You see people who have millions of dollars. You can see them on TV, whatever. You can tell. Some people look relatively happy, and some you can tell they're not. They're suffering from the same thing, and they have everything that most people long for.
Yeah. Even the ones who seem to be somewhat happy, I feel still feel like they're missing something.
They have to. They have to.
As long as you don't see this, you are missing something.
You are missing something. Yeah.
You're missing who you really are. Yeah. But those are the things I would imagine that why people don't see the ego for what it is, or don't see awareness the way it is. And probably there's many other reasons as well, but yeah. And then you always grow up with separation. You're always taught to be separate.
Totally, because our parents, that's all they know.
So why would you even question it? Anyway, sometimes.
Yeah.
Although,
and then luckily some people do.
Yeah. Exactly.
They go off on looking for answers to big questions.
Right. And it's lucky that there's always somebody around who has experienced this, because then they can tell you, you're not so crazy. Look into this.
That's right. That's right.
You know that?
It's so
through the whole centuries and eons and whatever else, there's always been these people who have experienced this.
Yep. I personally think there's more and more and more, and mostly because of the internet. Yeah. I think word has spread very rapidly. Obviously exploded. So now communication between all four corners of the whole world, and anyone who's experienced this can now talk about it, share it boom, 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 and people go, oh, that's what I was looking for. Boom, boom. It used to be you had to go travel to the Himalayas and search and find for maybe there's some guy in a cave, and it was
Right.
Now
Now it's all over the place.
it's everywhere. It's so accessible, so anybody looking can find it.
Yeah. So maybe we have gone to the deepest level of material
Maybe we're on the
idea, this
upswing.
experiment that we could go to. Maybe that's as far as we can go. And now it's time to come back from it. It's like
Yeah,
we've gone deep into this matter.
yeah,
Even the science was believing that just matter exists and that's it.
yeah,
And everything is just things.
yeah,
And that's one thing you see is that everything isn't things at
Right.
all. It's
Yeah.
there's no things.
there's no things.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.